Now, it's Census Day on Sunday, when we all need to complete those purple questionnaires, either on paper or online. It's our once-in-a-decade head count to help us plan for the future.
But the census is also a window on the past, with more and more people using it to find out about their ancestors and their heritage. Andy Bevan explains.
This is one of the biggest events in the Irish calendar, the annual St Patrick's Day Parade. And behind New York and Dublin, Birmingham's is the largest in the world. It's reckoned there's about 100,000 people here from several generations, all celebrating their Irishness.
I'm half Irish. My father was from County Kildare, my mother's English from Birmingham.
I'm 3/4 Irish. 1/4.
Irish descent, both parents.
But in the last census 10 years ago, many people like them didn't tick the Irish ethnicity box because they thought it didn't apply if they were born over here. This time, there's a campaign to distinguish ethnicity from nationality and to tick that box.
On a day like today, it's great to be Irish, but we want people to be able to feel their Irishness every day of the year. So by ticking the Irish box in the census, they can record their Irishness and record every other part of their identity as well. Black, English, Welsh, so we can know what they need and we can look after each other better.
The 2011 census bus and crew have been visiting places like Leicester to remind everyone that the answers they give about their family and household help to plan services like health and transport for the future. Apart from during the Second World War, we've had a census every 10 years since 1801, and everyone has had to take part, no matter who you were. Highbury Hall in Birmingham is a conference centre and wedding venue, but it was built in 1878 as the family home of Birmingham MP and cabinet member Joseph Chamberlain. Two of his sons followed their father into politics, one reaching the highest office in the land. But back in 1891, they got no higher billing than their servants when the census man came to call.
So we have Joseph, who's the Member of Parliament, Privy Councillor, and his other son, Austin Chamberlain, was actually Joseph Austin. They'd all transposed their full names. But you can also see Arthur Neville Chamberlain, who we know better as Neville Chamberlain, who later on became the Prime Minister, and a whole army of servants, ranging right from a butler down to the scullery maid.
You want to be there?
Yeah, whether you lived in a house like Highbury or in one of the back-to-backs, yes, you should be listed on the census.
Back-to-back houses were where most people lived at that time, though many were still occupied in the 1960s. The National Trust has preserved these examples in Birmingham, and historians have traced their occupants down the generations using census data.
We've set this house up for the 1870s, and it was a very big family. There were 10 of them, 2 lodgers, parents, 6 children. So it was a pretty crowded house.
10 people, essentially. This was their living space.
It was, yeah. Upstairs you just got bedrooms. The form of light is gaslight. If they ate together, it was brief, and the kids would have got out to play as soon as they'd eaten. 6, 8 kids was quite common in Victorian times. You didn't necessarily expect them all to live, but once they were old enough, they could be earning money and adding to the family income.
By the 1931 census, infant mortality was down, but grown-up children were leaving the family home to find work, what little there was after the Great Depression. Electricity brought radio and instant light, but heat still came from the fireplace. It's census detail like that which helps paint a picture of our local heritage.
I always think it's a bit like walking down a road and people have left their curtains open, and you always have a look in. And the census does that, you know, it opens the curtains every 10 years. We know more about the 19th century from the census probably than from any other source, more about ordinary people and their lives.
Of course, those back-to-back residents of 100 years ago are all long gone now. But one former resident of this street, Low Street in Wolverhampton, is still around a century later. She appears on the 1911 census at just 1 month old.
Nora Snow has seen the rise of the motor car, the arrival of television and the birth of the computer, which of course is part of everyday life for her 9-year-old great-grandson James. Nora doesn't use a laptop, but she does still read about 5 books a week, and she says the census is a great source of knowledge for us all.
Oh, definitely. And a lot of people are now tracing their family trees with the help of the census, and it is a big help.
My mum does things with the census, like track back her family, like her ancestors from a long, long time ago.
This will be Nora's 10th census and James's first, but the £500 million cost means it could be everybody's last. So be extra sure to fill yours out this Sunday and add your own little bit of history to the Midlands.
Yes, no doubt it'll be fascinating when the results come out in a few months' time.